You're listening to the Arthro Podcast Show.
Oh my gosh, are the Brits taking over everything?
With your hosts, Bryan Baird and Scott Ballard.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Man, it's going great. How you doing, Big Bry, the bug guy?
Man, I'm sweating in places I should never sweat. That's what I always say. It has been a blazing hot day.
Yes, it has been. When it's 8 o'clock and it's almost 80 degrees, and I walk outside just to take something across the street to a neighbor, and I'm sweating. You know, I walk in and they're like, "Gosh, man, what, you been jump roping in the attic?" And I'm like, "No, I just walked across the street." And they're like, "Dang, dude."
Just want to say hi. Yeah. Hey, well, we got to have a special guest tonight, Miss Dennis Judy.
Yes.
Basically representing EcoRaider. Is that correct, Mr. Dennis?
That is correct. I'm technical director for EcoRaider.
And he has a lot of field experience. Dennis has been with training technical directors for both Orkin and All Good Pest Solutions here in Georgia. So he has a little bit of experience doing that. And we kind of wanted to pick. Yeah, we just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about your about EcoRaiders, if that's all right, Dennis.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Okay, well, that sounds good. So do me a favor, tell me a little bit about how they got started up and how long has EcoRaider been around, and we'll go from there.
It's been around for several years. I honestly can't take you back how many years since I haven't been with them, except for about a year now. Mm-hmm. So the history of the company goes back a long way. I know they got started really working with some over-the-counter products, the 25B type products that did not require EPA registrations, the user-friendly type products, if you will, and started selling the product that way. And of course, the more and more they got into the program and saw what the effects of the products were, how they were working, it just seemed like it would fill a niche for the PCO as well, for some applications where the PCO struggled with several things. So EcoRaider in and of itself, like I said, being the 25B, it's based on natural oils. Cedar is really the primary ingredient of several that are there in the active list. And they just have a tendency to react differently to bugs, and through some of the research that was done, found out that EcoRaider is very, very deadly, especially to bed bugs. So it's really
that's a good thing to hear.
Way into the PCO market as a primary ingredient that could and should be used really by the PCO for bed bug control.
And it's a 25B product?
That is correct.
Okay. And it now cedar, I've heard a lot about cedar. Now, what is its mode of action? Do you know?
Well, it's different than most products work on their nervous system in some fashion, whether it be the sodium channels, the calcium channels, or what have you. With the EcoRaider, it actually attacks an enzyme called octopamine. And the octopamine is not found in vertebrates, so it's very, very safe. It meets all the standards for a 25B, being that it's effective and safe and green. So since there is no octopamine in a invertebrate type critter, a bug, or something that does not have the backbone, it makes it very, very safe to use in those environments.
Well, that's good. So, how quickly does it work?
Actually, the contact on it, you actually spread that red bug with it and see the red bug die. It's very quick acting, very fast acting, fantastic as a contact knockdown product.
Oh, that's good. And so as a contact, it doesn't really have. Does it have a residual of any kind, or do you have to mix something?
It does. As I said, there are other ingredients in it that kind of act as synergist with it to help it spread, help it stick, help it do other things. But The product itself, typically in studies, has lasted upwards of about 10 to 14 days residual, strong residual, so that if something comes in contact with it, down the road, it still is effective on it.
Well, that's good.
After that,
so how did they just like, was it like a hit and miss thing, or did they just really, how did they develop the product?
That's one of the secrets, I guess, that I've not been made privy to at this point, guys. It's, like I said, I haven't.
Not that I was trying to make my own. I just was just curious.
Since I retired about a year ago, I started working for them, and like I said, I believe they had some guys that were scientists by nature that got together and started doing some study of these things, and they saw the niche of the need for these user-friendly products, and started developing these oils and working with different combinations of different things in them. And apparently they found the right combination. They've actually had it studied through Rutgers. The home office is up in New Jersey, so they work closely with Rutgers in some laboratory studies and things like that, and had some terrific results from it in those Rutgers-based studies.
Yeah, I know that up north is, like in New York and New Jersey and like in California, products like that are essential, because it's getting to the point now you can't use a lot of the stuff that we can use in other states and for other instances, especially with bed bugs, and due to liability and everything. So something of this nature that works well. I mean, people are hungry for it.
Well, that's really the glory of it, especially with bed bugs. When it is safe and as effective as it is, it just really fills that niche. And whether it be New York or California, where it's really hard to get products registered in the first place, we're starting to see, the mindset of the new generation and people coming around and I've always asked people, they say, do you offer a green service? My first reply was, yes. What is a green service to you?
Yeah.
They all have a different definition of it, but you can find and fill their niche with what they think green is, and we found that EcoRaider really helps fill that niche tremendously. And for a professional pest management person, you can rely on it, especially with the bed bugs, to be a very effective knockdown to take care of those bed bugs on your initial service.
So
let me ask you this. I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Mr. Dennis, when you, as far as the bed bug treatment that, you advise to do it, what is it? Is it with anything else, or is it just EcoRaider by itself? Treat the.
Well, no, it's, we typically tell you to get physical with things, go in there and do what you would normally do physically to inspect everything good, find them. Remove what you can. I'm a strong believer in using a vacuum cleaner, not only for bed bugs, but for a lot of different bugs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you can carry them out in a trash bag, they're not there anymore. So
that's right.
So
I like that.
So I would like to do the same thing, I think, with bed bugs, and then the EcoRaider we found then can hit a lot of those areas that it's hard to see in, really. You got the tufts and the folds and things like that, where you can actually spray the EcoRaider right on the mattress tufting or the box spring, tufting around the edges under the label tags, and work it as an extra tool in your toolbox, and not have to be worried then about the safety of it when it comes to contact with vertebrates, whether it be people or pets. It just becomes pretty much the chemical part of a bed bug treatment, along with all the other IPM techniques.
And how long have y'all been using EcoRaider for bed bugs?
EcoRaider's been in the bed bug market now for many, many years. I can be not long-lived with the company myself. I know that I saw it at MDMA many, many years ago, and it seems like it's slow, like everything else, to take off with the professional PNP, because they get set in their ways. they find their favorite niche. I know I've got my favorite products I use. I'm sure you guys do too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to sometimes say, hey, let me try this. And then once they do find out how well it works, then they become a big proponent of its use, and they don't want to go back. So the fact that somebody says it's green, sometimes people shy away from it, thinking, well, it can't be good. Well, it has a lot of good qualities. What it may not carry in long-term residual, it more than makes up for by its fantastic knockdown and the safety effects of it. So there's a balance there that you have to strike.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember, Dennis, I mean, you've been in it probably longer than I have. I've been in it for 30 years. And I remember when some green products came out, there was a lot of things that came out that just, I mean, they smelled horrible and they didn't work. And so I became there, and the things that did work ruined the equipment we used. And so, and I'm not trying to say that EcoRaider does that. I'm just saying, I think that's the reason why, like you say, we get caught up in our own, because I'm starting to lean over towards green products too now. And
sure.
I'm experimenting with new stuff, and I'm starting to find out it's a lot different than the old things we used to use. Like limonene and all that stuff.
Yeah, and part of that effect as well. And I would suggest you have maybe a sprayer that's dedicated to it. It's going to have a smell because it's it's got essential oils in it, and they have it. So that smell, some people may not like the fact that smell lingers for a little while. But again, you got to weigh the good with can I put up with the smell, or do I want to have a bed bug?
That's right. Yeah,
I think I'd rather smell the essential oil than the odor of the urine from the bed bug.
That's very well put. No, we and the one thing that I think is really good is because one of the problems with of course, as PMPs that we have is treating the mattresses. As part of a bed bug, there's not a lot of things we can treat mattresses with other than steam and everything else. And so having a product that we can actually use to treat mattresses directly, that's not going to, hurt somebody's skin or something like that, is definitely something to have in your toolbox.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives you another, like I said, another tool that you can do something that you probably don't want to use something else for. Even, there are a few products labeled, but then again, they're different. They could be harmful on contact. So
that's right.
That's right.
So it makes a tremendous difference to have something that carries the safety package as well as having the quick contact kill and very effective knockdown for products like EcoRaider.
So let me ask you this: I'm kind of sold on a product that it's an adjuvant you mix with it. Would that work well with the with EcoRaider?
You can mix things together.
Uh-huh.
What it is you're trying to do as the adjuvant. What is the purpose of the adjuvant? EcoRaider is going to come with its own. It's got sodium oral sulfate as an adjuvant to help the product.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure you would need to go the expense of doing anything additive to it, which is another strong point behind, using a single product that would make up that difference.
That is a good idea. So let me ask you this. I mean, just kind of getting away from bed bugs for a minute. So does your product work on other arthropods?
Yeah, it's been tested on several other insects. Be a short list probably, but for the most part, it is very effective on quick knockdown or contact with most pests. We have found out that a lot of folks are now using it religiously. What started off to be green requests for people that are having cockroach problems. Some of our PCOs now are finding out, hey, this stuff is just knocking the crap out of cockroach infestations.
That would be nice.
Quick clean out, like the good old days, Bryan, as you said years ago.
Yeah, man. I was just thinking that same thing.
nowadays you say clean out, and most people don't know what that means. So because they wrap their heads around baits and baiting systems, which are starting to have some of their own problems now.
That's right.
Which probably associated, I hate to use the R word, but with some resistance issues.
Now, have you noticed much resistant issues with EcoRaider or any, if any?
EcoRaider does not show any resistance patterns that are it just hasn't been around and used enough to that regard yet. Most resistance problems come because people fail to rotate their products, and or they think they're rotating their products, but truth be known, they really aren't, because when you rotate products, you really got to switch between products of the same chemical class. So
that's right.
Yeah, we have a lot of pyrethrins and pyrethroids out there right now, and they work on the sodium channel of insects, and you can't switch between a pyrethroid and a pyrethrin. That's still in the same chemical class. So that's just going to drive the resistance factor even higher. So that's one of the things that we recommend at Eco, that you take a look at, using this as an alternative in your rotation. If you're using a pyrethroid product on one service, maybe the next service you want to switch off and go with this to help break that cycle and that buildup. It's the genetics of the insect, and it's the babies that are having babies that really create that resistance problem. And if you're spraying heavily with one type of product forever, that builds up over the generations. And as the generations then evolve, they become resistant to these products. They tend to find a way to live with it. So, if you can apply something different, whether it's EcoRaider or whether it's something from a different chemical class, it would pay for people to really do their homework and find out what products fit what classes of chemical actives and switch between them. But we do know that since EcoRaider is not working on that nervous system the way most of the other products out there, I say most, almost all of the other products out there target the nervous system. With EcoRaider targeting the enzymes, the octopamine enzymes, there really hasn't been any indication, nor do we suspect there will be, in the distant future, of resistance in EcoRaider. So it becomes a great product to use in your resistance management program.
That's fascinating, because that's
yes, it is.
That's conversations I've been having with a lot of pest guys lately. They go from using bifenthrin to cyfluthrin, and they think they're rotating their stocks, and it's like, no, you're using the same products.
It's the same chemical active class,
Yeah.
and they affect the insect in the same way, so the insect doesn't even know the difference.
Yeah, they don't know if it's they don't know the chemical name. They just know how it reacts to them, and then they get adapted to it. No, that's interesting. I wouldn't mind trying that, especially like on a cockroach clean out. Lately, it seems like nothing works on them.
Yeah, we've been getting tremendous feedback with the folks doing cockroach work with them. Really doing a great job on the clean outs, knocking them down and wiping them out, kind of like the good old days when we had other products that are no longer available to us.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
I always thought it was fun to watch the roach flip over and kick his legs. You knew he was going to be dead.
Yeah, it sounds in this day and age, just saying you like to watch them shake a little bit, it's people get offended, but it's true. You kind of like them to you like them to move around like they're gonna go.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. So Scott, did you have some questions about mosquitoes?
Yeah, I just was curious. You had talked about the looking at introducing a mosquito control program with EcoRaider. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, great. What we're doing, Scott, we're actually going through field trials right now, wrapping up the field trials, and it's looking very, very good, very effective for us. As far as using a formulation of EcoRaider, it'd be a different formulation. It actually it is being used in the mosquito misting system, just like a normal pesticide, and being applied the same way. The trials are showing that we're getting, again, very, very good knockdown. It's a tremendous knockdown factor. But we also find that we're having a couple of different things going on with the EcoRaider. And number one, the first thing would be the contact, the knockdown. Very, very good stuff. Number two, though, it tends to be very repellent to them as well. So quick kill on them, and then the areas that get treated tend to be the areas where mosquitoes like to rest and spend their time. And when we're coating the leaves and shrubs and the undersides of overhangs with the product, we're finding that it becomes repellent to the mosquitoes as well, so they tend to go off and rest somewhere else.
Well, that would be dynamite.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't think I know of anything that is repellent to mosquitoes.
So it's helping in that regard. And then the third thing, since we do have a product that is regarded as safe, again, it works with octopamine, which is only in bugs. The product is somewhat safe. You can actually use it in place of your larvicides. So it's got larvicidal action. You can actually squirt it into a bird bath and kill mosquito larvae in the bird bath.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to go out there and spend a ton of money on a case of larvicide for cats or granules or whatever. You can use what's right there in your Mr. Blower to treat standing water sources around the structure and have a good larvicidal action with the same product.
So I know Bryan was asking about teaming up EcoRaider with an Avigent. Is that like we've got Scrimmage, or we use Lambda, and Scrimmage is something that's silicone based, adherent to the plants and stuff, or the foliage. Is there any need in that, or are you just doing straight EcoRaider?
What we're seeing so far is that it's very well. As a matter of fact, one of my trial persons told me that he could actually see it sticking to the foliage. And he had been using a different type of product, in his normal routine. So, again, it does have this sodium lauryl sulfate as part of it, and that seems to be doing a pretty good job as an adjuvant for the product. So, I think you'd probably want to test it a little bit. If you've got certain situations. I know you guys were talking about how heavy it's been raining. I've been experiencing that too. I think we had 7 inches last week with rainwater here.
Yes.
Not much is going to last through that. So in a situation like that, on the undersides of these where the rain didn't hit it directly, it might help if you're, in a wet type of environment. But otherwise, in a normal dry summer weather pattern, probably would not need to add anything to it to make it work effectively.
Well, I tell you, I'm interested. We have some EcoRaider in our shed, our chemical shed. So I think I'm going to try a little experiment myself and see what kind of results we get from it.
Yeah, you can try that. Like I said, it is going to be a different formulation, slightly different makeup, but the main active ingredients are still the same. So, as we work with it and develop it, it looks like it's going to be pretty effective, especially in the green type programs.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't expect to get long residual out of it, but then I don't think we get really long residual out of our normal products either. So
no, not on mosquito, especially.
They might outlast it slightly, but in rainy weather, probably not going to be much difference.
Well, now, how the trials that you were going through, were you doing it every 21 days? Were you doing it every 30 days? How were you? And what?
Well, we basically had guys that were already doing mosquito testing programs to supplement this into their program instead of what they had been using, and try to tell us. We wanted to find out what would happen. And again, we went through some issues with the rains, as you said. One of our trial people actually works in South Georgia, and Brian, you know how much rain you had there.
Oh yeah.
The others are up here in the Atlanta market, and different reactions depend on when they actually did the work. They actually started some of the trials and all the way through July, and just wrapping them up now. And for the most part, I think what we're finding out, and when you've got a technician out there anyway, just trying to get his work done, you're getting pretty much anecdotal information from them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
and sometimes getting that back is hard.
Yeah, they're just the last thing they want to do is talk to you after a long day. It's like, yeah, let me do this for after 14 hours and then talk to you and tell you how wonderful your product is.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, well, I'm happy with what I'm using. Do I really have to use this, boss? Questioning whether or not. I mean, I think they form their opinions before they even try it sometimes.
Yeah.
But, I think what they found out was it was giving several weeks, a couple of good weeks of strong effect, and then started wearing down. And my experience with the other products we used, at All Good and doing that kind of work was very similar, even with, good brand name pyrethroid products that we've been using. So.
Yeah, and you really can't help it with the way the way the sun affects chemicals and everything. That's I mean, you really can't expect more than 30 days. I mean, that's the long end.
And I'm not going to try to make you think it lasts that long. A couple of weeks good, and then you might start seeing a few if they're there. But the other side of that coin is if you've done your job and you've done the larviciding, and with this, it's a lot easier to do that.
That's right.
Perhaps you've knocked down the population to the point where they don't come back as quick. And
if you have a slight repellency effect, that's even better. So. And
that keeps them from, these areas where they like to rest, and it doesn't become their go-to place to find shelter. So, long term, I think with the program in place, we're going to see tremendous effects with it.
That is interesting. I'm excited about that.
It's another green offering, I would say. We had several of the trial test sites were people that had green service and wanted a green offering. And I had one PCO up in the Alpharetta marketplace here in Atlanta, higher end housing, that just fell in love with it. In fact, he wants to order a truckload now.
Wow.
But he seemed to think it was the cat's meow, based on what he had been doing with his green market people. So.
Yeah, and that's a really good niche market. I mean, these days that's becoming more and more, the more IPM and green chemicals is becoming more and more the way people want to go. So it's a very good idea to get involved in it.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot about that nowadays. It's coming around, even with a little company that my son and I are just upstarting. We're occasionally getting people that say, "Hey, do you use these safe products?" Or usually they say, "Do you use non-toxic products?" I quiver when I say that because, hey, if it kills something, it's toxic. So.
That's right.
That's truth.
It's hard to answer that question without changing some words around, but. From a safe perspective, it's easy enough to say with some of the, the understanding we have of action. It is a very, very safe product to use. And, the fact that you can actually squirt it in the bird bath and not affect the birds or even fish in the bird bath. So
that's what's interesting to me.
Yeah, no kidding. Because once again, you go back to some technicians get to the point where they're in a hurry and stuff, and
hosing everything.
They accidentally get it into a place, you don't want to be losing.
That's right.
Fish.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell you to go out and spray it in the koi pond. I would never do that.
No. I know, I'm not insinuating that. I promise.
But most koi have names, so I would steer clear of situations like that. But certainly, it's not going to harm birds taking a sip of water in a bird bath or anything like that. So we're looking at kind of rolling this out, putting it together. I believe we're going to package it in a gallon size increment with a 4-ounce tip and measure. That was the last discussion I had. and we're actually mixing it at 4 ounces of the product per gallon of finished spray. So I think that'll put it price-wise very much in line with all the other green products that are out there.
Well, that's fantastic. I wouldn't mind trying that. I really wouldn't. That sounds like something I'd like to get my hands on.
We're looking forward to having that roll out at MPMA this fall. Yeah.
Well, we'll be there. We'll have to come down and shake hands with you.
Good deal.
Okay. Well, terrific. Well, Dennis, I'd like to take you I'd like to thank you so much for your time. Easy. Slow down, Brian. Don't get excited. I'd like to thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of things to do. What's
Brian,
that?
You still got the taste of that fancy water in your mouth? Is that what's going on?
That's that wonderful bidet bath I took. I could not believe it. You have no idea. I was sitting there inspecting that pipe, and all of a sudden this cold water was shooting up my neck, and I'm going, and instead, you know how the one thing you're supposed to do when you're like, do you ever do any water skiing? The one thing you're supposed to do is as soon as you fall down, you're supposed to let go of the rope. But well, you know what most people do is they keep holding onto that rope.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what I was doing? I had one hand down trying to stop the water, and the other hand was still on that thing spraying up on me. So I don't know. I was soaked luckily it was raining outside, so I didn't have to explain anything to anybody. So that was fun.
That would have made a great video.
Yeah, my life is a great tape.
Yes, it is.
So no, but it's been an honor to talk to you, Dennis.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate the time and the opportunity, guys. Like I said, I've been with EcoRaider a short time as their technical consultant, technical director, but becoming more and more favorable to what I'm seeing with the opportunities here, and having been in the business for 40 years. Out there on the front lines and everywhere else, I can see where a lot of these things could really fit and fill some voids in the pest managers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You look at the route that the industry is taking, and I've been telling folks for a little bit now. It's like we're on the verge of a big change, a big shift in our industry, and I think things like this are going to be in the front, and everything else.
Right.
We need to get ready. It's a whole lot easier to get ready when it does hit, and have a place to go and to be scratching your head on what do I do next. So,
amen.
That's right.
Well, EcoRaider has a great person in you, Dennis, and I'm glad you're with them. And one day I'll have to you'll have to send me like 600 gallons of that, so I don't have to pay for chemical for a year. No.
Yeah. I wish I could help you with that.
Well, I sure appreciate it. Well, you go. Anyway, so I hope you have a great week, and thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Can we give them a website if somebody's interested in
Please.
checking it out?
Oh yeah, we should since we talked about it the entire time. I apologize. You are so right. Let's do that.
It's www.ecoraiderpmt.com.
PMP?
PMP, Pest Management Professional.
Okay. And we'll also put this up on...
They could go info at that same title.
Okay.
To send an email.
Well, fantastic. And if anybody wanted to talk to you directly, is there a number they can reach you, or should they just call EcoRaider?
Call EcoRaider or contact them at info@ecoraiderpmt.com. And if they do need me directly, I'm easy to find, through the GPCA directory, or EcoRaider can hook them up to me. The number at EcoRaider is 201 751 0011.
Fantastic. And GPCA, like that is like the best Georgia Pest Control Association we have. So there we go.
Sure.
Anyway,
Right,
it's great. Like I say, it's great talking to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you down at MPMA.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been
listening to the Arthro Podcast Show. Carry on with whatever unimportant task you were doing before. We'll be here next week.